ready for true happiness, for deep fulfillment, for feeling alive, on purpose, and in control of your life again? It's time to be the bold, brilliant, beautiful woman you were born to be. Welcome to the PurposeGirl Podcast. I'm women's happiness and life purpose expert Karen Rockkind, and I'm going to teach you how to live on purpose, feel alive, and be happy in every aspect of life. I'm going to get real about my life and interview women who are living on purpose so that you can finally live yours. Welcome to the show. Hello, 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 Purpose Girls. So I have a confession to make. Years ago, I would fake like almost nearly every orgasm I had. And I don't know why it's such a confession, because pretty much most women I talk to have faked orgasm at least once, if not many times. And it doesn't mean I never had an actual orgasm, but it wasn't that easy for me. And I don't think I'm alone here. So I would fake it. And I really wasn't comfortable talking about it or even telling somebody what I wanted. And then when I started dating Josh, I forgot how, but somehow he picked up that I was faking it. And he actually looked me in the eye and he was like, "Babe, did you just fake that?" I wanted to say, "No, honey, it was great." And I love this man. And so I needed to be honest and tell him, yes, I did. And then he asked me to promise him that I would never fake orgasm again. I tell you, my friend, like my heart stopped. My stomach was like coming out of my chest, because I knew that what that actually meant was that I was going to have to get super clear with myself about what I actually liked and be able to communicate it with him and be able to communicate if I'm just not feeling it anymore and I want to stop. I just knew it was going to bring about a whole new level of communication that wasn't comfortable. And then since then, I've been doing my own sexual exploration and my own work into understanding what I love and really letting out the wild goddess within. And the more I dig into it, the more I realize this is one of the most important aspects of a woman's health. Her physical health, our mental health, our emotional health. Like, sex matters, and we deserve to feel awesome sexually. And that's what today's episode of the PurposeGirl Podcast is all about. And I have the absolute best guest to help us with our own sexual health. Dr. Jennifer Berman is a New York Times bestselling author, sexual health expert, a woman who I have been watching on Dr. Phil and the Today Show for years. She is incredible. I need to tell you about her. She is a co-host of CBS's daytime talk show, The Doctors, world-renowned expert, New York Times bestselling author, one of the nation's authorities in the field of female sexual health. She is a practicing urologist with specialized training in female urology and female sexual medicine. She started her career early. She did groundbreaking research, activism, advocacy for women's issues. She's been in the public eye since a young age. She founded and created the Berman Women's Wellness Center in Beverly Hills as a comprehensive, multidisciplinary, state-of-the-art center solely dedicated to women's well-being, wellness. Today, she focuses on her patients in the center and continues to serve as a recurrent expert for the media. She is regularly on Dr. Phil, as I said, The Today Show, Good Morning America, you name it. And I used to watch her when she and her sister did a show together called Berman and Berman. And so it's just so fun to have her here. Of course, she earned her master's of science degree from the University of Maryland, her medical degree from Boston University School of Medicine. And I could go on and on about her. Dr. Berman, Jen, I am so happy to have you on the PurposeGirl Podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
It is so my pleasure. So my pleasure. Well, and speaking of pleasure, that's actually the perfect word. You know, we are taping this in the middle of the coronavirus
We are.
outbreak. And, you know, there are a lot of jokes being made right now that we are going to see this baby boom in 9 months. And what I'm hoping is that as women listen to this, that we are able, and every woman listening to this is able to actually enjoy, if she's having sex right now at home, whether it's with herself or someone else, that she is actually able to enjoy it. So let's take a step back. What do you see in all of your patients and all the media that you do? Like, what's going on with women and not enjoying sex? Or you heard my story with orgasm. What's going on in general?
With the quarantine, I've been asked a lot about, what do we do with this quarantine thing and intimacy and sex? And one of the things that came up was masturbation and immunity, that sexual activity or orgasm increases immune function and increases the immune response. So that's one great thing about sex, that it helps with the immune response. So I encourage all of us to be having more sex because it boosts the immune response.
That is incredible. Right? Everyone's talking about washing their hands.
It increases like white blood cells and natural killer cells, which fight off viruses and bacteria. So orgasm really helps with that. Another thing that I was thinking, though, is that, when we're forced to be confined in small spaces. I mean, sometimes our spaces are small, sometimes we're in big spaces, but when we're forced to be confined in spaces, sometimes we love who we're with, sometimes we may not. So I was thinking, this is an opportunity to redefine our relationships. Sometimes we go through the motions of just cohabitating with each other. And I'll ask you, it's going to redefine relationships when we're stripped of everything and, fear, and we've taken away, all the bells and whistles, and we're left with just the authentic me and the authentic you. Maybe it's a time to redefine relationships again. And maybe we're going to see what comes out of it, real relationships again.
Right. Real connection.
Real connections. People, like divorce rates may be going down. People that were going to be heading, the courts closed down. Divorces that were scheduled, maybe not. That's what I think. I think that people are going to be reconsidering what's important. And maybe, that people that were going to, child custody situations being reconsidered. That's what maybe the happiness in me, in me, because that's what's happened to me. I've reconsidered a lot of different things and about what's important, things that I've gone through, some things. My father passed, and there were trust and things, conflict and stuff going on. And it made me what's really important in family and what's really important in life. And so what's happened and what I'm considering, I feel that person must be considering, and this person must be considering, and my relationships I'm considering. I think everybody, is considering these things. So when we're cooped up in close quarters, a great thing to do is have sex.
I love it.
When you're liking the person. Now, when you're not liking the person, I think that, it's an opportunity to reconsider, a lot of different things. And I would throw that back at you. You're forced to stay together. And I think that, I thought of Helen Fisher, like mating animals in captivity. You can't help but look at somebody that you hate differently.
Absolutely.
Maybe he's not that bad. In crisis, he's fixing things, and then you might notice actually, he's kind of cute when he's the hero again. And,
Right. And maybe when everyone's not leaving for 10, 12 hours a day to go to work, we're actually connecting and getting to know each other again. I said to Josh, I feel so grateful I married somebody I liked, because if I didn't like you right now, I'd really be in trouble. But but it is true that we often, and I'm thinking whether it's friendships or it's marriages or, any sort of relationships, we kind of get into like a routine and we forget what made us really love that person or connect with that person in the first place. And I think you're bringing up a great point that this is a time for connection. And in the Purpose Girls Facebook group, I've been posting a positivity prompt every day. And yesterday's was, what are you hoping comes out of this? And nearly every single, dozens of answers, nearly every single woman answered more connection, more love, more, empathy, all of the things that make up a beautiful relationship. And I'm thrilled to hear that this is a great time to be having more sex, right? But of course, we want to enjoy it, right? Because what if someone listening to this, they don't want to have sex because they don't enjoy it with their partner or even with themselves, masturbating. They've never been able to orgasm. How do we really shift to be able to enjoy sex? And this seems to be an issue that plagues women more than men, right?
What happens with men is that they can get into the mechanical aspects of things too. They get used to, doing it a certain way with their hand, or with porn, their hand, whatever, that when it comes to actually having to do it in an intimate way with another person, it's more challenging. So I've seen that as well. With women, they may not know what pleases them, much less how to communicate that to a guy. So women need to know what to do and how to please themselves in order to communicate that to a guy. Guys don't know, unless they've been with a woman that's confident enough to communicate with them. They don't learn from porno movies or from the backseat of the Chevy. They have to have been fortunate enough to have been with a woman who has taught them, and not all of them have had that opportunity.
How does a woman even start to figure out what she enjoys?
Well, women learn about orgasm in puberty, if not typically, this is not on all cases, but typically in puberty, if not before, like whether it be, I'll hear like in the pool or on a jungle gym or with a toy or playing doctor. And then they'll have a feeling or an experience, and then they'll try and reproduce that and, learn through an accident or an experience and then figure things out along the way. Boys, the same. And if for whatever reason those brain genital connections don't occur at an early age, it's like trying to learn Chinese when you're 40 as opposed to 4. It's not that you can't learn Chinese when you're 40, it's just harder. The brain genital connections are harder to learn then. And orgasm is a reflex that involves neural, vascular, muscular, emotional reflexes happening all at once, that where your frontal cortex shuts off. So the thinking, seeing, rational brain shuts off, and so the sensing, feeling takes over, and the thinking, doing shuts off, and it goes like a switch. And you kind of like when you meditate, you don't know that you're doing it, but it does. And so if you try to do it, am I doing it? Am I doing it? Like if you try to do it, it's not going to do.
And you're staying in your head, because certainly we've all had sex when we stay in our head.
And I work with countless women who say that I feel like aroused, but there's no release. And when you're thinking, am it happening? I'm having, okay, I'm feeling it. And I don't know how to, teach that.
Teach how to get out of your head and get into the feeling.
And one of the tools that helps women, believe it or not, is CBD and cannabis. That helps to shut off the frontal cortex activity. There's also a medication called Addy, which is medication for low sexual desire in women. It's not for orgasm. There's women that have difficulty achieving orgasm that have medical issues, like the women that are on medications or women that are perimenopausal or menopausal that have hormone issues, those are way easier. They're things that we can do. There are women that don't really know their bodies, and that is also way easier. We can teach with erotic toys. We can teach anatomy lessons, where their G-spots are, where, if it's just a matter of education, that is, that's way easier. I have a young woman that does my eyelash extensions. She was on a journey to learn her, anatomy, and she took like some sort of class and learned how, like every area of her vagina, learned how to squirt.
Wow.
Didn't literally teach me, but verbally told me verbatim what she did, how she did it, how it happened, what to do in order to achieve that experience. Now, I haven't reproduced it or tried it yet, but, frankly, I intend to.
Right. Yes. I want to hear about it when you do. And not everyone I've found is familiar with the term squirting. It's female ejaculation.
Female ejaculation. According to my sister, every woman can. We all have the capacity to do it. And I studied this and many people have studied it. The Beverly Whipple and others have looked at the fluid from the Skene's glands and have determined that it's not urine, that the Skene's glands are the equivalent of the what are they? No. The ejaculatory duct, like in men, that they have the same ducts that men have, and they're more prominent in some women than others. Some women can do it with ease and facility without even trying, without going through these huge machinations that others do. Just with clitoral stimulation. Sometimes it's just kind of a gush of fluid. Some women, it literally spurts like across the room and like similar to an ejaculation with force through the urethra. Others, it's like a pool of fluid through the vagina. But it comes through ducts that exit through the glands in the vaginal wall. Now, comes through stimulation of the G-spot. Like, so it's approximately a third of the way in, like that, if this is the opening of the vagina, so a third of the way in, and it's traction, like forceful pressure. And I know because when I've tried before and like give up, it's forceful pressure in the anterior vaginal wall, like rapid, forceful pressure that makes you feel like you have to pee. My eyelash lady told me this was what I wasn't doing, and I haven't tried it since she told me this, but apparently you have to orgasm first. So you have to have an orgasm and then proceed with the forceful, rapid traction pressure after that. And usually women feel, me included, that it's like overstimulation after you've already had an orgasm to keep stimulating in that area after you've already had an orgasm, but you have to push through that. And then apparently it can happen then.
Well, and I have not squirted ever yet in my life, and I intend to, but it sounds like we can do it ourselves.
She said you can do it yourself too.
So that's like the gold medal maybe of orgasm, or I don't even want to put like a label on it, but that seems to be like the master's class, right? That's the Iron Man. And so for the women listening to this who are like, all right, what's the 5K, right? That's the Iron Man.
Okay, so first would be like the 1K would be the clitoral orgasm. So that is just clitoral stimulation. The easiest way to do that would be either manual stimulation, oral stimulation, or like the little pocket rocket, like a clitoral vibrator. Just apply it right there. So that's the easiest way. The 5K or the 10K would be clitoral and vaginal, like a G-spot orgasm. So if you're doing both clitoral and vaginal stimulation. And not all women can have an orgasm through vaginal stimulation, through penovaginal intercourse.
I'm so glad you said that, because I know that there are times when I have felt like something was wrong with me.
There's nothing wrong with you because the vagina, inside of the vagina, doesn't have the same sensation. It feels, so the vagina in there feels, pressure or stretching. So it doesn't have the same sensation as the outside. So in order for you to feel that kind of sensation, it's your positioning. So you're also going to have the right sensation on the clitoris. And this is why many women also like rectal stimulation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not really feeling it vaginally, possibly you need a finger in the anal area, beads in the anal area, or clitoral stimulation as well.
Right. So I have orgasmed with penile stimulation, but I typically think it's because it's hitting the right spot of my clitoris when we're rubbing together.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or we use a cock ring sometimes, and the cock ring on him creates that rocket pocket, whatever you called it, vibrator in the right spot on me.
Oh, what are those called? The screaming O thing?
Oh, I don't know. What is that?
The screaming O is a ring, and it has like a little bumpy thing in the middle that vibrates.
That's what we have. Is that what it's called? I love it.
Yeah, so they're stretchy pink things with a little vibrating thing on the top. So that it's designed to be a cock ring that vibrates her also. So the positioning, that also rectal stimulation and or changing your positioning will work.
I love this. I love this. So you started talking about also as we age, right? Perimenopause, menopause. I am 45 and definitely in perimenopause. Interestingly, I'm in perimenopause and pregnant at the same time. That is the truth.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you go through in vitro?
Yeah, we had a 5-year journey. We didn't get married till I was 40, and we got pregnant on the honeymoon, but then I lost that baby. And then we got pregnant again about a year and a half later. I lost that baby, and then about a year of healing, and then started the in vitro process. So it's so interesting to both be in perimenopause and pregnant at the very same time. And before being pregnant, I definitely noticed some differences in my libido, because I've always, prided myself on having a strong libido and night sweats. I know that it's perimenopause. My periods over the year before I became pregnant were starting to be 60 days apart, like very weird patterning. And so for anyone listening who is going through perimenopause or menopause, is it a CBD oil? I mean, what do we need to do in order to be able to enjoy?
The perimenopause is when the symptoms start to happen. And it's really important that women recognize that, because we can make a lot of excuses for them. Like, I'm just tired and I'm working and my husband lost his job, and the symptoms can be weight gain, difficulty sleeping, mild hot flashes, night sweats, memory changes, moodiness, and irritability and short fuse, or weepiness and depression. Sometimes a little bit of vaginal dryness. Sometimes changes in libido. Loss of interest in sex, and then they progress as you become menopausal. And then what's important is that what I encourage women to do is to speak to their healthcare provider and have your hormones checked at that time. And I personally treat patients during the perimenopause and moving into menopause, because if you treat them at that time, you can delay and stave off menopause and prevent the more severe symptoms from occurring, and then women aren't like ready to become homicidal like I was. So I think it's really important that women are aware of that, because it really is a challenging journey to struggle through that and feel crazy and not really know what, and they subtly creep up on you, like, it's like having, having like a, in the background, and you don't really know what's going on until you're like in the throes of it. So yeah, and the good news is that there are treatments, bioidentical, natural treatments that are available, that are FDA approved, that are really helpful. Now, having those symptoms and being pregnant, well, if you're pregnant, you're on hormones anyway. But the problem is you're on such high doses, and the high doses can make you crazy too.
Yeah, and fortunately, my sexual drive has been great being pregnant. So, because I think my body doesn't
You
really
have a boy,
understand.
you know what it is?
I am having a boy.
Yeah, so the testosterone will
Oh, is that what it is?
Mhm. Yeah.
Wow. That is so cool that you just knew that. I mean, that's why you do what you do. But yes, I am having a boy. That is so interesting. So our hormones, I mean, that's what's really happening in menopause or perimenopause, right? It's a hormonal shift. And I love that there are treatments. Now, when would someone see their primary care physician about this? And when would someone go see a urologist like you about this?
So I'm a urologist and I specialize in female urology. Most female urologists deal with urinary issues. I kind of like carved out this sexual menopausal health niche out of what I perceived as a need. But women that are experiencing the symptoms that I described should see either their primary care doctor, their GYN, an expert in sexual and menopausal health, such as myself. Most traditional urologists don't necessarily do what I do, but if you, and then, the problem is that regular OBGYNs won't necessarily treat a perimenopausal woman because they're very algorithm based, and you have to be menopausal to get hormone replacement therapy. Things are changing, and my best recommendation is if you're having symptoms, speak to your healthcare provider. Now we have this great thing, this social media and the internet, and all you have to do is Google, bioidentical hormones, perimenopause, doctor in wherever you live, Beverly Hills, Atlanta, New York, and it comes up. And that is, that's the beauty of today. Back in the day when I first started, all you had to do was, 411 and just become a doctor. Today, everything has changed. Is that now, being a doctor this is like a whole nother topic, but the business of medicine has entirely changed. You don't just, come out of medical school and start practicing. You have to understand social media. You have to understand marketing. You can't just have a website. You have to learn SEO and optimization and keywords and all of these things. So the good and the bad of that, the bad of it is, for me, as a doctor, I have to invest and learn all these things. The good of it for you guys as the consumer is that you get the care now. So you don't have, you want bioidentical hormones in your perimenopausal, all you have to do is type in bioidentical hormones perimenopause, and you're going to have all the doctors and all the people that specialize in that right at your fingertips.
Which is, you're right, it's great for the consumer. And something, like I said, I've known your name for years, right? And so fortunately, you have really made a name for this in yourself. And, one of the things as we talk about sexual health and intimacy, one of the things I've been fascinated about lately is, can we become attracted to somebody, right? If people are they're on lockdown right now with a partner that they didn't love anymore, or now there's that TV show Love is Blind that I totally admit that we binge watched, over the first couple of days of the coronavirus situation. So can we fall back in love with somebody? Can we become attracted to somebody again? How does that happen?
That's a really good question. I was thinking about this. So from my personal perspective, what is chemistry and attraction? I personally have felt chemistry and attraction for men that I would not necessarily say are drop dead attractive and gorgeous based on certain qualities or characteristics or traits. That said, I've also been attracted to certain men and then, for whatever reason, gotten unattracted. And when I get unattracted, it's done. Like I can't make it come back. And, so when I was talking about earlier, when it shuts off, can it come back on? And I think it depends on why and what the reasons are. And I think when there's a lot of pain and a lot of trauma or a lot of hurt, what the reasons are for lack of attraction, I think that it can come back, but it depends what the circumstances are. In terms of Love is Blind, what is so friggin' cool about that thing, what I love about it, and what intrigued me so much, and I talked to men because what I saw is like men, studly men, including my fiance, who's like a jockey guy, were riveted by that show. And I was like, what are you loving about this? What they loved about it, what men loved about it, was the raw, authentic, vulnerable, real moments, authentic moments that they saw, that they saw people being real. And they saw, wait, that's real. And I have felt that before. I know what he's feeling. I know what she's feeling. And they're really feeling it. Whoa. Like they related and they knew it was real. And people being authentic, it was like seeing them naked.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that too, but that wasn't what drew me. What drew me was I saw people through a wall. They were energetically connecting without, like, there was a feeling happening.
So this show, any of you who haven't seen it, it's a Netflix show that is totally gone viral, and it is people meet behind walls, so they never see each other, and they have 10 days of meeting each other and dates. And many of the people on that show fell in love without ever seeing the other person. And what an incredible experiment in the days of text dating, right? Where it's swipe, 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 only based on looks. And two of the couples, or maybe I shouldn't share the punchline, but let's just say that many of the couples fell in love. And it just shows that we can be connected. What's interesting about what you're saying, Dr. Berman, is that I too was fascinated that they're falling in love without seeing each other. And I resonated with it because I know that I've had simply conversations with people and felt a spark of connection, felt a spark of love. I know that I have fallen in love with people who weren't my quote unquote type because that spark, that energy is there.
They were compatible. They had similar interests. There was, humor. There was intrigue. There was edginess. There were, similarities. There was enough, it was familiar. This person, I've known you my whole life. Putting on a familiar shoe. And it was exquisitely cast that they almost paired off perfectly, the ones that did. What I liked about Barnett, the beauty of the Barnett and that the girl that him, Barnett was, all of them were like, what I think about all of them, they all were kind of risk takers. Like, to even do that, you have to be like willing to take risks. Barnett was like a commitment phobe who like was willing to, who completely transformed. What was beautiful about her, like the trailer park trashiness of her and everything, but she maintained, she was a perfect example of manifesting because she held her positive, regardless of how he he didn't try to, but he could have derailed her. He was being an asshole. He was like,
and like into other girls until the day of their engagement. And
even up on the altar, like she was just in her mind unwavering that she was going to be his wife. She held that vision in her mind so strong and manifested it like till I have never seen somebody do that with that level of positive energy and conviction and like love, even when
certainty. She held and this is no matter what we are going through, if it is love or what's going on right now with the coronavirus or any challenge that you face in life, maintaining a sense of hope, maintaining a sense of belief is so critical. Yeah.
And she did it gracefully. She is a beautiful example of the power of The Secret, the manifesting. And she should write a book. I mean, I've never seen anything like that. And she did it gracefully and with a smile. And even in light of that other bitch woman trying to steal him right out under her, she didn't stoop to that. We got angry a little bit, but she didn't, get trashy. And I think that she handled that.
She stayed above the fold.
And Kenny also was, I thought that he got dumped at the altar and he handled that with such dignity also that they tried to corner him afterwards and he didn't badmouth her. And he was also handled that with dignity and poise and like a man.
Yes. And that was another thing. Ladies out there who are single, watch this show to see what quality men exist.
Yeah.
Because that's something that I was amazed with.
The woman that dumped poor Kenny, she was like, she doesn't know. She really thought that she was the shit, excuse my language, and
didn't really know what she wanted. And then I think was upset. Oh, I wanted to keep dating you. The men on this show are so high quality. And something I hear, and I'm not sure if you hear this too, is that so many women talk about that there aren't any good guys out there.
Yeah.
And, that's a show. And there are so many examples that there are good guys. What would be one tip you would recommend to women who are still looking for their beloved, their partner, whether it's a man or a woman?
The problem is, get out of LA. What I hear is the problem with LA is that there's so much inventory. There's so many women and men that it's just a distraction. They're on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. That if you go to Baltimore or, or Georgia, although Atlanta is just as bad, that there's less distraction, but there, that's part of the problem is that there's so many people and so many options that if you're, one of the things that when I met my fiance online and I have been single for a long time and I had basically just was repulsed with the male race. And the thing, he had gotten online for a minute. We met on an app called The League, and it was just like a fluke that the universe beep crossed us.
Meant to be.
And what struck me about him, and I it's sort of like something that I did out of boredom in airports and
right.
And what struck me about him, and we crossed, is he said these words: "Are you free next Thursday?" It wasn't like tonight or 10 minutes or whatever. It was planned. There was an aspect of courtship and I'm older, so I'm not there was pursuing. That art of pursuing has died, I think, for me at least. The millennials don't care about it anymore, but for me, that was important to me. So next Thursday, and then after that day, again, when can we go out again? And so that's how it came to be with me.
And I think We like to be pursued. I think that we can kind of be clear with somebody, hey, this is what I want. I find a lot of men, not all, but a lot of men, really, if they like a woman, they want to please her.
And that's what I tell my daughter. Like, she's like, but he said, hey, like he said, what are you doing? WYD. And I said, that doesn't mean anything, Izzy. Well,
I'm like, I don't even know what that is.
what are you doing? And the girls are the guys don't have to do anything. This is a whole nother topic. How do we train our young girls not to, they make it so easy for these boys to not respect them, not pursue them, not do anything. And that's a whole nother conversation.
It is. I know. I wish we had time to get into that because I think it's huge. I really think that a lot of the world would change if young women really stood in their worth and realized he wants to get into your pants. So just make him wait a little bit. Often, they kind of want it more than we do at first. Yeah. So it's like that I think would totally change the world. And there's such an opportunity for all girls, all women to shift into their own self-love and their own self-worth. And what I hope to be as a boy mama is teaching a young man that level of respect and pursuit. Because I think that is, the world will change.
They're learning it in, middle school and high school. And I don't want to come across the wrong way. I'm a mom to a boy and a girl. And, we've come down really hard on men and boys, but, with the whole Me Too thing. But the girls are also responsible. We as women and girls, we allow, a lot of these behaviors. They're learning what they can get away with from us.
Yes. And we can stand in our power and say no.
Yeah.
And
you don't get to act like that. No,
you don't get me. You want me? You're going to have to show up this way. You want me? You're going to have to love my body as it is. You want me? And believe me, they want you. Right? So I agree. It's an opportunity.
You know what I was thinking about this whole coronavirus thing with, maintaining space and distance and, it's almost like a reset of respecting boundaries is that you can't social distancing, that we have to keep our distance, is that respecting me, that you going near me could kill me, that it's almost teaching people that to respecting my space, respecting distance. It's almost like a way to teach young people to respect my body, your body. Maybe this is a way to really teach boundaries also. That's an outgrowth of this whole thing.
Ooh, I would love to see that as an outgrowth. That and our own self-respect and deeper connection and intimacy and love. All right, I could talk to you forever. So one thing I love doing with all my guests is I do something called a Purpose Power Play Round. And it's just me. I'm going to ask you a couple of very random questions. And whatever's the first thing that comes to your mind is the right thing. Okay. First, which of your books should somebody pick up first?
Which of my 2 books? For women only.
For women only. One reason why.
It's the better one than the first one.
Isn't that amazing? Sometimes the first one really is it, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you were a little girl, what did you want to be when you grew up?
An actress.
An actress. How interesting to go from actress to urologist.
To doctor, yeah.
Yes. And it's not lost on me that you are out there entertaining and informing at the same time, right? There's like this combination for you of what that is. So 10 years from now, what's one thing you would love to see in this world or in your own life?
I would love to see my son understanding consciousness. He's really interested in the brain. And I see him really delving into the neuroscience and coming up with new understandings of psychopathology and treatments for mental illness and behavior. I think
Mm.
I would love that. I could see
Mm.
him in a white coat and just being a pioneer.
So cool. I love that he has such passion. He knows that. And you probably fostered that in him.
I think like he, in many ways, like he's almost, I don't want to say he's been parentified or parented me, but it's like we've had a past life of some sort.
I totally believe that. I believe we come back into this life with our soul family. All right, last question. What is one thing you want every woman to know?
I want every woman to know that they are beautiful, that they are loved, that they are important, and that they have a purpose for being here.
Mm. So beautiful. So beautiful. Dr. Jen Berman, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been such a pleasure.
You're amazing. And I hope that we can keep in touch and continue to cross pollinate and work together.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan, have been for a long time, and we will definitely find ways to work together. Your work is so important, so important. For everyone out there to learn more about Dr. Jen Berman, go to bermansexualhealth.com. Of course, we have her website, her Facebook, her Instagram, her Twitter, everything in the show notes. You want to make sure you check that out and make sure you check out her books. And for all of you listening, we hope you loved this show. If you did, head on over to Apple Podcasts, even for just 60 seconds, write a 1-sentence review. It is your review that is ensuring that women all over the world are finding the Purpose Girl podcast and improving their well-being and improving their happiness so that we are ranked top 20 in more than 30 countries. So thank you for those reviews. If you haven't yet joined the Purpose Girls Facebook group, join us every single day right now. I am posting a positivity prompt to keep us positive, keep us joyful, allow us to like share our hearts and connect in sisterhood, which we so need. You can, of course, find me on Facebook at Coach Karen Rockhind, on Instagram at Karen Rockhind. And the most important thing you can do with the Purpose Girl podcast is to share it with every woman you know. That is how we change the world, one woman at a time. With that, my love, may you live purposefully, may you love yourself, and may you love life. Bye for now.